The enduring influence of Aristotle. Aristotle and Plato were the most influential philosophers in antiquity, both because their works were widely circulated and read, and because the schools they founded continued to exert influence for hundreds of years after their deaths. Aristotle's school gave rise to the Peripatetic movement, with his student Theophrastus being its most famous member. In late antiquity, there emerged a tradition of commentators on Aristotle's works, beginning with Alexander of Aphrodisias, but including the Neoplatonists Simplicius, Syrianus, and Ammonius. Many of their commentaries have been edited and translated into English as part of the Ancient Commentators on Aristotle project. In the Middle Ages, Aristotle's works were translated into Arabic, which led to generations of Islamic Aristotelians, such as Ibn Bajjah and Ibn Rushd. See Al-Wisha and Hayes 2015. In the Jewish philosophical tradition, Maimonides calls Aristotle the chief of the philosophers and uses Aristotelian concepts to analyze the contents of the Hebrew Bible. Though Boethius's Latin commentaries on Aristotle's logical works were available from the 5th century onwards, the publication of Aristotle's works in Latin in the 11th and 12th centuries led to a revival of Aristotelian ideas in Europe. Indeed, a major controversy broke out at the University of Paris in the 1260s between the Averroists, followers of Ibn Rushd who believed that thinking happens through divine illumination, and those who held that the active intellect is individual in humans. See McInerney 2002. A further debate concerning realism, the doctrine that universals are real, and nominalism, the doctrine that universals exist in name only, continued for centuries. Although they disagreed in their interpretations, prominent scholastics like Bacon, Buridan, Occam, Scotus, and Aquinas tended to accept Aristotelian doctrines on authority, often referring to Aristotle simply as the philosopher. Beginning in the 16th century, the scholastics came under attack, particularly from natural philosophers, often leading to the disparagement of Aristotelian positions. Copernicus's model made Earth not the center of the universe, as in Aristotle's cosmology, but a mere satellite of the sun. Galileo showed that some of the predictions of Aristotle's physical theory were incorrect. For example, heavier objects do not fall faster than lighter objects. Descartes attacked the teleological aspect of Aristotle's physics, arguing for a mechanical conception of all of nature, including living things. Hobbes critiqued the theory of perception, which he believed unrealistically described forms or ideas as traveling through the air. Later, Hume disparaged causal powers as mysterious, thus undermining the conception of the four causes. Kantian and utilitarian ethics argued that duties to humanity rather than happiness were the proper norms for action. Darwin showed that species are not eternal, casting doubt on Aristotle's conception of biological kinds. Frege's logic in the late 19th century developed notions of quantification and predication that made the syllogism obsolete. By the beginning of the 20th century, Aristotle looked not particularly relevant to modern philosophical concerns. The latter part of the 20th century, however, has seen a slow but steady intellectual shift, which has led to a large family of neo-Aristotelian positions being defended by contemporary philosophers. Anscombe's 1958 argument for a return to virtue ethics can be taken as a convenient starting point of this change. Anscombe's claim, in summary, is that rule-based ethics of the deontological or utilitarian style is unconvincing in an era wherein monotheistic religions have declined, and commandments are no longer understood to issue from a divine authority. Modern relativism and nihilism on this view are products of the correct realization that without anyone making moral commandments, there is no reason to follow them. Since virtue ethics grounds morality in states of character rather than in universal rules, only a return to virtue ethics would allow for a morality in a secular society. In accordance with this modern turn to virtue ethics, neo-Aristotelian theories of natural normativity have increasingly been defended, for example, by Thompson, 2008, in Political Philosophy. Arendt's 1958 distinction between the public and private spheres takes the tension between the political community and household as a fundamental force of historical change. In the 21st century, philosophers have drawn on Aristotle's theoretical philosophy. Cartwright and Pemberton, 2013, revived the concept of natural powers being part of the basic ontology of nature, which explain many of the successes of modern science. Humphrey, 2016, argues for the real existence of natural kinds, which serve to classify material entities. Finally, the Sydney School has adopted a neo-Aristotelian, realist ontology of mathematics that avoids the extremes of Platonism and nominalism. Franklin, 2011. These philosophers argue that far from being useless antiques, Aristotelian ideas offer fruitful solutions to contemporary philosophical problems.